What up, guys? I'm former UFC fighter and current owner of Easton Training Center, Elliot Marshall.
I'm Scott Nickel, teaching pastor at Flatirons Community Church.
Scott, am I fucking going to hell?
Yes.
Welcome to the Saint.
And the Sinner. All right, welcome back, Saint and the Sinner.
Who knows? We're done.
Yeah, that's it. This episode's going to be lighter. We've had a good string of pretty heavy episodes, although a couple episodes ago was a really funny episode because we just worked out and we were feeling
But it's still pretty, it's still heavy.
Still heavy. Yeah. We talked gay marriage and stuff like that. Last week we talked problem of evil and all that, and we got a little ADD in that one even. So we're feeling like we need a lighter one. So we're going to talk a lot about sports and stuff like that.
And as you can see, we're wearing the same clothes.
Yeah, so. Time travel again.
Yeah.
We're going to talk maybe some PED use and things like that. So if this isn't your cup of tea, we don't care. We're going to talk. You know, this is our podcast. We can talk about whatever we want.
You can't just sit here and talk about God all the time, man.
It
gets old.
Yeah, the heavy stuff just gets taxing.
It gets taxing,
and that's not all our. Back to your point. That's not all our.
Yeah.
This always sounds so funny. It's not all our relationship is based on. You know, Elliot actually threatened me a while back. You threatened me that you were going to start seeing other pastors. And I told you, it was a text, a little tiff we had. I told you to go.
No.
I told you to go. Spend some time.
No, this is what it was. It was, you invited me to the barbecue on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you asked me, and I said, hey man, this might be moving, because you said, I'm going to get to meet your crazy family.
Yeah.
Right? And then I said, I don't know, man, this relationship might be moving a little fast for me.
Yeah.
I might need to go see some other pastors. Yeah. And then you replied with, yeah, you go ahead and do that, you'll be back.
That's right. Because I know other pastors. I have, some people talk about gaydar. I have a pastor dar.
Oh, yeah.
I know when I'm sitting in a restaurant, a coffee shop or whatever, if a pastor walks into the room, and I'm right most of the time.
Really?
Yeah. It's weird.
No shit, huh?
It's weird. And one of my goals in life is that I never set off someone else's pastor dar. I don't ever want somebody to look at me and go, that guy's probably a pastor. I don't want that to happen.
It's hard.
Yeah.
You're kind of an asshole like me.
See, that's my thing, is like most people, when I say I'm a pastor, they're like, what? Mm-hmm. Really? And I kind of would like it to stay that way, you know.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to be Ned Flanders, you know, from The Simpsons. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be wearing khakis and a button down.
Was Ned a pastor?
I don't think he was.
No.
I never watched The Simpsons. I saw a big thing the other day about...
When I was a kid, I did. But then I got over it.
I didn't even when I was a kid. It's still on.
It's still on.
And I saw a thing the other day that you can watch every episode of The Simpsons. They've put all in one place, like some internet site or something that's ever occurred.
Really?
Like, wow. That would take a long time. It came out when I was in like...
There's probably more episodes of The Simpsons than there is porn, man.
What? You Google that. I won't.
That's fair, bro. Come on, man. They make it too easy these days.
I still died laughing watching the video of the podcast when you were talking about how you had to confirm that the person who cooked your food was in gay porn. But the question that was left unanswered was, why was someone cooking your food? Where was this? How did you ever have a chef?
So it's like, when you're fighting, right? And the way we have it set up here a lot, right?
Yeah.
Is that we're driving all over the place.
Yeah.
So to get a good healthy meal is kind of difficult, right?
I see.
So either you were going to do all of it on like Sunday, which is just time consuming, right? You know, or you had somebody do it,
I see.
And that's how it got.
I see.
You know?
Okay. I didn't know if you lived in a house where you had like a chef or you were in a frat or something.
No, I was with my wife at this point in time.
Okay.
She just worked a full-time job.
Okay.
I tried it for a little bit, right? Of us doing it.
Yeah.
And it was just so much work.
Yeah. Food.
You know? It was just so much work, and it came down to like, I don't know, what was it, it was 5 hours or 3 hours of food, 3 to 5 hours of food prep, or a couple $100 a week.
Yeah.
You know? I just went the couple $100 to be able to sit on the couch and watch football.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah, football, they're in camp.
Yeah. Last year all I did was listen to sports talk radio.
Yeah, I don't get too excited too early about football. Some people freak out the moment that like OTAs happen and all that kind of stuff.
Dude.
You know, I kind of like there would be a little fall in the air before I start getting really excited about football.
I just had the national sports talk radio sucks.
There's a couple guys I like.
I love Mike and Mike.
Yeah, but that's all they talk about is football, and they don't know anything about other sports.
And it just the national scene, I'm just not. Maybe I just haven't found the right one.
You know who I like?
Who do you like?
Dan Patrick.
Yeah, what channel
Dan
is that?
Patrick. They took him off of ESPN Radio here in Denver, 102.3, but you can get him online and stuff.
So
I
anyway,
like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just left it alone since the Super Bowl.
So there's a couple things going on. There's been a lot of fights lately. There's been tons of fights. Football's back in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the CrossFit Games happened, you know, a week ago.
Rich Froning,
four-time champ. Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet won, which I'm sure CrossFit and Reebok are excited about because she's attractive.
She's really good looking.
She's really good looking, and
she's not
manly.
She's not Amy Thorstall, who looks like
her abs are so wacko.
Oh, I wonder why, Scott.
Why do you think that is? What do you think they have in Iceland that makes Annie's abs look that way?
Before I go this route, I want everyone to know.
Yep.
I am down with it.
You're down with the use of performance-enhancing drugs. And before all of you scream, well, of course the atheist is. No, of course the UFC fighter is what they're going to say.
You are too.
Yeah, I think we have to relook at all of it.
You're down with it too. And the reason you're down with it too is because, and I'm talking to everybody, not Scott, right? Because you go sit in McCubby Cove, right?
In a kayak. Barry Bonds.
Waiting to catch,
baseball.
Let me tell you how that happens.
Yeah.
There might be the anomaly that it might happen once.
Yeah.
Just freakishly.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how it happens all the time. Drugs.
Yeah.
Right? When you watch the Olympics, could you imagine if the guy that won the Olympics in the 100-meter race, in the 100-meter dash, did it in like 10 seconds? Could you imagine? Everyone would turn that shit off.
Yeah.
About 8 seconds in, they'd go, wait a minute, 8 seconds?
Yeah.
We're at 8 seconds and he's halfway done.
Yeah.
We demand it.
We pay for it, man. We create the environment. Yeah. I used to argue with my dad about steroids in baseball because my contention for a while was like, Dad, taking steroids does not make you hit a baseball better. Hitting a baseball isn't a power thing as far as actually hitting a fastball. It's like the hardest thing to do in sports, they say, or whatever. Like, you can't tell me that getting stronger helps you be a better hitter. What it does, and I think what he used to argue, and it's obviously right based on statistics post-steroid era, is that, but a pop fly turns into a home run, and apparently it does by a lot, because middle of the steroid era when we got McGuire and Sosa and Bonds and those guys and the other ones were like, you see these guys who like came out of nowhere and all of a sudden hit 55 home runs.
Had 20 the year before.
Yeah, there was a dude for the Orioles, he was an outfielder and I forget his name, who never hit more than like 18, who hit 55 one year. And it's like, and then he never did it again.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's interesting. So apparently steroids really helps you hit home runs because it obviously does. If you're already great, like Barry Bonds, who would have been a Hall of Famer anyway. He
was already 4-time MVP.
Yeah, and he used to be fast. He used to steal bases. He was in the 40-40 club. Look, he would have been a Hall of Famer anyway. Now he's just that much better with drugs. So.
And they all do it.
They all do it.
Anybody
who thinks they don't at this point it's wishful thinking.
The Tour de France just ended a week ago.
Yeah.
Right? When Lance Armstrong.
Yeah, Hank's a big Viking guy, so he knows about this stuff.
They can't even give the winner of the last year he won because the next 18 dudes got busted too. So what is that telling all of us?
Or this whole thing, like people used to really argue, no, Lance is clean, he's clean, and it's just wishful thinking. It's like, okay, so everybody's juicing, right?
But not Lance.
But not the guy who beats the hell out of everybody who's juicing. He's that much better.
He doesn't need the drugs and he wins.
Yeah, and he wins. No. I think he's much like Barry Bonds in that he would have been the winner anyway.
No. Here's the Lance Armstrong thing. This is where the Lance Armstrong thing is. So, you have to suffer to win at big-time pro sports.
Yes.
Right? You have to really, really suffer.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be able to go somewhere in your mind mentally where other people cannot get to.
Right.
So when you're riding up that hill, right, in France, and you're like, whew, I'm about to die.
Yeah.
When everyone else is like, I'm about to die, Lance goes, nope, this isn't death.
You think because of cancer?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. He won some before he got cancer.
He never won the Tour.
Yeah,
no, he never won the tour.
Before he got cancer?
No.
I thought he did a couple times.
You got to do your research, homie.
I don't spend a lot of time with plants.
He never won the tour. His body type wasn't right. He was too big, right?
Yeah,
so cancer helped him in multiple ways. One, it made him smaller.
Yeah.
Right? So that because you needed to be a smaller statured person, correct? Right?
Yeah.
To be able to win the tour. Because if you're too big, you're just too big. And two, I really think it's what he was mentally able to do. Right? Because when everyone else is like, this is death, Lance goes, no, this is just really hard. This isn't quite death yet.
Right. I've been there.
I've been there.
Yeah. That makes some sense. Didn't they do the thing about how his lung capacity is far superior than most or something?
Not to jump on the podcast, but I'll say two things. He did get a lot smaller.
Right.
And more than that, if you read, I read a ton about him. I never thought he was clean.
Yeah.
His work ethic really changed too.
Sure.
Because that was so much that he went through. Because as a young kid, he'd go out and party. And he just had some natural talent.
Right.
He relied on that 100%.
Right.
But I think cancer made him like, here's a second chance. What are you going to do with this?
I always thought he won some before. Huh.
No.
But no doubt.
No doubt. And look, if you want to compete at the top level in pro sports, you have to.
Yeah, people just don't want to hear that.
They don't want to hear it.
What do you think about basketball? You think people are using basketball?
I think growth hormone.
Yeah, because of the recovery.
You have to play for so long. Games, it's months and months. You know what I mean? I do. I just don't think. I just don't think it's very possible. To compete.
Yeah,
night
in, night out. One night you're in Miami, the next night you're in LA,
with
then you're in
no
Oklahoma
sleep.
City. You're not sleeping.
You're sleeping on a plane.
Yeah,
and
you get all these little injuries and stuff all the time.
So the big one has been one of the big ones has been the TRT in fighting.
Testosterone
replacement therapy. And for a while, so those of you guys who don't know, the UFC does no drug testing.
Right.
Right.
They contract another organization.
Right. So no. All fights are sanctioned by the state athletic commission.
Right.
And then the state athletic commission runs all of the regulatory bodies that, is the regulatory body. So they run all the rules, they run all of the drug testing, right? So the state athletic commission, for a time, all of them, were giving out these TUEs, therapeutic use exemptions.
Right.
So that if you could show that your testosterone was low, right, that you could go get on testosterone replacement therapy
to get you back to
normal.
Yeah.
But you didn't get back to normal. So, but here's where it gets real weird. The scale of normal. The scale of normal is like 200 to 1200, right? Well, and some people have it at 400. It's so big, right? So where it got hairy,
you go upper end of normal.
Where it got hairy was, let's say it's me and you, right? And you get classified as low,
right?
So now you go on this replacement therapy, so you go to 1200,
right?
Right? I don't get classified as low. I'm only at 500, so I can't get on it.
Right.
So now I'm like, wait a minute, man!
You're
like
fighting a guy who's 1200.
Yeah, because I'm not low.
Right.
Yeah. And what was really happening was so you can get your testosterone way up and way down, right? People jacking their testosterone all the way up through camp.
Right.
And then the week before, getting it low, right? Getting it back down to where it needs to be.
Right.
And then fighting when they go take the test, they're fighting at that low level, at the normal level, but they haven't done any training, so they still feel great.
Yeah.
Right? Because that last
ride the
week,
wave, basically, is how it works.
Boom. Yeah. And look, it's about who has a really good doctor.
Yeah. And so your contention is, are you just saying it should just be free for all?
No. We need to put something on it.
Whatever you want to do.
We need to put something on it. Like, here it is. Ready? Your testosterone level. Yeah. 1200 is the peak.
Yeah. Don't go above it. Don't go over it.
Don't go above it.
Yeah.
And if you want to, you have to. And if you want to do testosterone, right? You now have to go get your testosterone levels checked.
Yeah. On
a consistent basis. And show me that you're never going above it.
Well, and having low testosterone is a symptom of use of steroids.
No, past use of steroids.
Past use of steroids is what I'm saying. So that's one of the theories a lot of people have, which is with some fighters who now that they've taken the exemption away, you can't do the testosterone replacement therapy anymore. Now you got guys who are going, I can't fight anymore.
Well, yeah.
And it's like because the theory being they used steroids for a long time. They brought
So hold on. No,
testosterone low.
You're a little off. So once you go on testosterone,
right,
your body stops producing it naturally, right. Which so they and this is where it's like this is why there's such this huge controversy because it's like, wait a minute,
I have this
like
to live.
you said I was okay to do this, and now you're taking it away,
and now I can't.
I can't fight without. I can't. I won't not even fight without it. I won't even function without it. Right. I won't even function correctly without the testosterone because what's going on with me?
Right.
You know, my body's not making it.
That's what your body does with hormones. Is, like even if you take melatonin every night to go to sleep, eventually your body will stop making that hormone, and now you can't go to sleep even with the melatonin, and you're not making it. So now you're in trouble. You know?
You're in big trouble.
Yeah. So it's a hard thing to arrive at because one of the things we don't like in sports is cheaters, right? You know, so if we feel like someone's gaining an unfair advantage, we really want to attack that. But the problem is, back to your deal, is we pay for it, man. So we've created an environment that generates cheating, you know, and so we either need to change the rules so it's not cheating anymore, you know, or we need to all quit with the moral righteousness on the PED side of things. You know what I mean?
Or we just need to not pay the guy as much.
Well, that would be the only way. It goes back to the Redskins thing. You know, if we vote with our pocketbooks, that changes things fast. But that's not going to happen.
Yeah, no, of course not.
You know, you look at fighting, for example. You know, only the people who really understand fighting are cool with watching a grappling match for, you know, 3 5-minute rounds. Most people want to see people knock each other's heads off. Most people, you know. So fighters, we watch this all the time, will actually change, not play to their strengths to go in there and try to get fight of the night. You know, just exchange, you know, in the stand-up, you know, that kind of thing.
But the UFC rewards it too.
Because the UFC rewards it, you know, and that's my point is people will do what they're... you get more of what you reward and you get less of what you punish, you know. So the reward of the money is worth it. We see it baseball all the time. Guys go, I'll risk getting popped one time because I'll get signed the next year, you know, for millions of dollars.
I'll risk getting popped.
Yeah.
Right? I'll risk getting popped because I'll do it at the end of my one contract.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'll sign my new contract.
Right.
And baseball is guaranteed money.
Right.
Right? Guaranteed money. Right. It's not like football where it's, you know, so guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Right? And
worst case scenario, I sit out 50 games under my new contract.
I sit out 50 games and I just signed a $100 million contract.
Right. I'll take the risk.
Great.
Yeah.
And here's where it is. You would do it too. Every single one of you.
Yeah.
You would throw your morals and whatever you believe out the motherfucking window for $100 million.
That moral high ground thing is interesting in sports. You know, I mean, I think it was Ryan Braun for the Brewers who just like went to endless lengths to defend himself and really like character.
Lance did too.
Yeah, and he was the worst. I mean,
Lance
he
did
just
too.
Destroyed people's lives.
Yeah,
you know,
to defend himself,
and he knew he was lying.
And he knew he was lying.
Yeah, it's brutal. You know, I mean, growing up, one of my idols was Pete Rose. You know. And, you know, when Pete Rose got banned for...
Do you think he should be banned from baseball?
I do think he should be banned from baseball. I don't think he should be banned from the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
The reason I think he should be banned from baseball is because he finally admitted he actually bet on baseball. For the longest time, I would have gone, no, just because he gambled on other sports does not mean he should not be allowed to be a manager in baseball.
So you think he shouldn't be allowed back in the game, but he should be allowed to be in the Hall of Fame?
Correct.
I agree with you.
Correct. Because being back in the game when you've messed with the game by gambling on baseball, and the only thing left for any Pete Rose supporter, my dad probably being one of the last, is go, I bet he never bet against the Reds. In other words, he never threw a baseball game to
Right.
Okay, he still bet on baseball.
It's just too slippery of a slope.
Yeah,
you can't go down there.
You can't bet on the sport you're competing in,
sure.
It's just shady. So, but to say he can't be in the Hall of Fame because he gambled on anything or baseball... You want to go down and read the list of some bad dudes that are in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
There's lots of them, you know. So that's just silly. He has one of the records that I think probably will stand for maybe forever. You know, as far as most hits in the history, because he played for 22 years. Played for forever.
So the UFC actually with the betting thing, they do this summit, right? Which is where they bring all the fighters out and they talk to you, you know, how to. They do it to cover their asses, basically, right? You know, be careful with the girls.
It's like the rookie thing they do in the NFL now.
Things like that. And one of the things they talked about is gambling.
Yeah.
They're like, stay away from the sports books.
Yeah, I bet.
You know? Stay away from the sport.
Talk about a sport where it'd be easy to take a dive. I mean, it's been historic in boxing. It's happened for forever. You know, guys
so hard,
went round, and you know, if you read the biography of Jack Johnson, which is pretty cool, I mean, it's pretty clear there were lots of fights he threw on purpose, or he waited to knock a guy out till a certain round, or he, you know, depending on how he was betting, you know. Boxing's just right for it, and so's the UFC.
Dude, my first UFC fight, somebody showed me the line. I was fighting someone that wasn't that good.
Yeah.
And the guy I was fighting was like an 8-1 dog.
Yeah.
And it's like, man.
You don't want to see that, do you?
Like, I couldn't lose this one, bro.
No, but I mean, do you want to see odds before you fight?
No, I don't like it,
you know? See it.
And it's like, man, can I take out $1 million loan?
Yeah, right. And get popped a couple times.
You know,
go to sleep.
Just fall down.
Yeah,
just fall down. Now I got $8 million.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Did you? How did you win your first one?
Rear naked choke.
Rear naked.
Yeah.
How many submission wins did you have
in the UFC?
All together.
No, I never did anything but submit anybody. I
Yeah.
got 1 TKO or 2 TKOs.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah, 2 TKOs.
Yeah.
It's weird though, because if somebody taps because of the strikes, it gets counted as a submission. So I have a couple of them.
Yeah.
Right?
Like Thatch's last fight, he gave the litter kick and got tapped.
Yeah.
You know, so
that's a submission.
It's a
not a
submission.
TKO.
But I think he got money for. Did he get submission of the night or knockout of the night? I think
no,
he gave him.
No, that was the first one. He only got a bonus the first one.
Oh, he didn't get a bonus the second time. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, you know, so they go over all that stuff again. You know, I think Pete Rose should be in the hall, 100%. So I got into this discussion, and I go back to fighting a lot. So a guy that I was on one season of The Ultimate Fighter with, our season.
Yeah. Because you've been on as a coach.
As well, yeah. So he actually came back this past weekend, and he'd taken like a 2-year retirement.
Yeah.
But he never really got cut, so they gave him, you know, a fight back in the UFC. And I was talking to one of my instructors who went on. It's this complicated web here. So one of the guys, the guy that owns the Castle Rock School, his name is Kurt. He's a military guy, and he takes these fighters all around the world to go to other go to bases and like kind of hang out, give moral support to the troops, right? So this guy Kyle Kingsbury was one of the guys that he went, and Kyle's the guy that came back and fought, right?
Yeah.
So. One of my instructors went on one of the trips with Kyle, not Kurt, you know, so Kurt, Kyle, and another one of my instructors. Right. And he just became a big fan of Kyle, you know, and he's like, man, I just can't see how fighting can be good, you know? And I was like, oh yeah, you know, he's like, how do you get there? What's the upside? Because your chance of making money is so slim.
Yeah.
And I want to pull this up because Kyle said it, and I've said it a bunch too. Because Kyle ended up fighting this weekend, he lost.
Yeah.
Why is the internet not working again?
Where did he fight?
What
organization?
The UFC.
Oh, he's in the UFC.
He fought in the UFC.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll look at it. I don't know what it is. The internet's. I restarted my computer and now.
Mine might be.
So anyway, Kyle basically said, "Look, the greatest lessons I've learned in my life came from fighting."
Yeah.
And for me, and I 100% agree with him. And I said that to the guy, and he's like, "You can learn those lessons." To my instructor, when we were talking about this a week ago, he was like, "Yeah, but you can learn those lessons in other ways." And I was like, "No, you can't."
Yeah. Some things you can only learn by going out there and doing that.
Yeah, you know, you can't. And he's like, "Come on, man, you can play other sports. Are you saying your sport's the best?" I'm like, different. "No, I'm just saying I'm just saying that the sport that I did caused you to have feelings that you can't replicate.
You can't find that anywhere else."
You know?
Sure.
I was like, because every time you go in there, you have to take a second and go, "This might be my last 15 minutes."
Yeah.
You know? Because that guy is trying to destroy me, and he will do what it takes. Even if he kills me, he's going to feel really bad afterwards. Mm-hmm. But if you ask him, if you rewind 15 minutes and make him do the same exact things again, he would.
Yeah.
Knowing you'll die, no, he wouldn't.
Right.
Right? Like, no. But rewind the tape, go again, and he's going to do the same action's going to occur.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's been a lot of deaths in boxing.
Yeah.
There's only been a couple, I think, in MMA.
Yeah.
You know, and they've been in lower ranks and
because
stuff
you don't get hit a lot.
Yeah, you don't get hit near as much as you do in boxing. Guy's bleeding in his brain for 12 rounds and nobody knows it, and he's still standing. You know.
Yeah,
in boxing,
you have so much more to do than just box one.
Right.
And 2, you don't get concussion on top of concussion. Where in boxing, I hit you in the first round, right?
Or that's standing 8 count.
Yeah, the standing 8 count.
Yeah, you're out.
Not even the standing 8 count. The opportunity to stand back up.
Yeah. Oh, you were out for 7 seconds, and then you stood up.
Even if you're only out for 4.
Yeah, you should not be allowed to fight.
And then you can fake it.
Yeah.
And you maybe the round's almost over, and then you can run away or tie him up, get back to your corner, and now you fake it for the rest of the time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then you make it. You get it together enough, and then take another one a couple rounds later. Yeah. That's very brutal. You know, when people want to talk about the brutality of MMA, boxing is way worse.
Oh, way more brutal.
Way worse.
Way
worse.
I think we're still learning about MMA because it's new.
We don't know yet.
We don't know the verdict's not in on the brain trauma and stuff like that. I think we'll see pretty soon because we're starting to get some fighters who have been retired for a while, still be around and things like that.
For sure.
I just saw, OSP, St. Preux is going to be the headliner on the next fight night against Bader.
Yeah.
Kind of surprised me.
Yeah, Bader's going to crush it.
That's not a great main event there. I mean, OSP is a pretty exciting fighter, but that seems a little soon to give him a main event. But did you see that?
They just have so many shows, man.
Michael Bisping is fighting Kung Lee.
Yeah. In China,
coming up. Macau, China.
Yeah.
Kung Lee fought Frank Shamrock. That's how long he's been around.
He's been around forever.
Holy crap.
So Kung Lee did it great, man. He created this aura about himself.
Yeah, he was in
Sancho. No. In Sancho karate tournaments. Right? Where he just destroyed people.
Yeah.
Right? And everyone was like, oh, he's a karate guy.
Yeah.
But what they didn't know about him was he was a college wrestler.
Yeah, he's doing some other stuff too, yeah.
But he wrestled first.
Yeah.
Or during it, So, man, he was a college wrestler, a badass wrestler. So now he's really hard to take down.
Yeah.
And,
he's just been around a long time.
Yeah, he's a ninja, bro. I like Kung Lee. He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
He's a cool dude.
So as far as the PED thing, I don't know what the answer is. I do think that there has to be some sort of regulations, but I think because I think that the conflict you run into is the sport itself has a vested interest in its athletes being awesome.
Yes.
And drugs make people awesome.
The sport itself has a vested interest in the sport being exciting.
Yeah.
So this is why jiu-jitsu will never be on TV.
Yeah.
Because if
you don't know what you're
watching, it's not exciting.
Yeah.
And look, I even know what I'm watching sometimes, and it's not
exciting. I kind of feel that way about CrossFit. Like it's on on ESPN2, and I know exactly what's going on.
I saw them texting me.
I get a little bored with it after a while. Like there's some things that are fun to watch, some things that aren't. But sitting around and watching somebody work out,
it's not fun to watch.
It's not fun to watch. It's really not a great spectator.
It might be cool to be there because maybe the atmosphere. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
But so that might be cool, but it's not
Yeah, you're watching somebody move a barbell around. There's a reason why Olympic weightlifting, if you want to watch that in the Olympics, you have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and watch it on like the 4th network, or whatever. And
we both love CrossFit.
Yeah.
We both love doing it. We're about to go do it here in a couple minutes,
Yeah, and by the way, you can't let CrossFit off the hook in the PED discussion.
That's where it started.
And people want to.
Oh my God.
There's a lot of purists and moral people who just claim that, none of these guys in CrossFit are using any kind of performance-enhancing drugs. And that is so crazy to think that that's the case. That cannot be the case.
Do you know what happens with performance? It has to go up and it has to go down. And it's got to go up. And you want this constant right? You want it to be like your bank account, right? You know what I mean? Like maybe sometimes you have to invest so it comes back down, but then you want that to be shooting up, right? Holy shit, man. These guys, their Fran time is never bad.
Yeah.
And for Fran, which is a workout in CrossFit,
Yeah.
It's like, Fran is like what do you bench?
It destroys you.
Yeah, it destroys you. It's like, what do you bench? It's what everyone's,
It's a litmus test.
Yeah. So,
well, here's the thing, and this is tough because the same argument that I would make with Lance Armstrong, you think the one guy who keeps winning is beating all the dirty guys, but he's clean? Come on. Rich Froning's won 4 times
in a row,
and it's undoubtedly a field full of people who've been using something, and to say that he's been able to dominate them without using is just far-fetched to me. And I hate to say that because I think he's a great guy, I think he's a nice guy, by all accounts, is a supposedly great guy, you know, but to throw that out there is like, I just don't buy it, man, because I sent you that report that was done that basically said, listen, if your body fat is under 10%, which everybody in the CrossFit games is, because you can see their abdominal muscles. If you can see a six-pack on somebody, they are under 10% body fat. So to have that and be over a certain weight at your height, okay, so let's say that you're 5'8", 195 pounds, and your body weight is or body fat is under 10%. That's actually not humanly possible without the use of some sort of drug. It's not possible. And this person went through and did a study on all the top 10 finishers from the past few years in CrossFit and flagged all of them except one guy, a guy named Ben Smith. And the only reason he didn't get flagged was because he was too young, because you're still growing up until you're 25. Yeah. You know, so, but this year he probably will get flagged, you know, because he's older.
It's just not possible.
It's not possible.
Look, there's some telltale signs, and one of them that they all have is the distended abs.
Yeah,
right.
And that's what you're saying about anti-thoracid.
When your 8-pack or your 10-pack
sticks out like a bicep,
right? When it sticks out, this doesn't happen.
Yeah,
right. This isn't possible. This isn't like okay. It's possible with drugs,
right?
You know,
the reason that we all don't have 6-packs walking around like that is for a good reason.
Yeah.
You're meant to carry around more body fat. Yeah.
And look, everyone. So let me explain why your stomach gets distended. It's called right. It's because growth hormone, which is and all these other drugs that they're using, mostly growth hormone. It doesn't discriminate. Right, so the danger of growth hormone is that if you have cancer, if you have one cancer cell, it's going to multiply that too.
Right,
it's not just going to do all the good cells; it does everything.
Right.
So all of your organs start to grow because they're all just made up of cells, right? You know, so everything starts to grow. So the muscle grows. That's one thing, and then your gut grows and your intestine grows, which makes your stomach just go boom. Yeah. So it pushes your gut out.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's just a telltale sign.
Yeah.
The broad forehead, the longer, you know, the thick, they all have it, right? And like, you don't work out your forehead, man. You know, there's nothing you do to exercise.
Well, what's the female fighter's name? Cyborg.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's been popped a few times. It's changed her bone structure.
Yeah.
You can see it. You know, it's not, and that never changes. Like I was listening to somebody talk about bone density. Once it changes, doesn't go back.
Sure.
You know, so you're asking perhaps, Rhonda to fight somebody who's been changed at a molecular level to replicate what's closer to fighting a man than a woman. You know, it's a whole new world. It's
a whole new world. And all you CrossFitters out there, and all, you know, and look, what do you like? So I have a friend, you know, who he's buddies with Neil Maddox. And and I've said this to him, I was like, dude, your homie's on.
Neil Maddox is a 36-year-old CrossFitter, used to be football player.
Yeah. Who just
strong.
Who just broke the record at 36 for squat snatch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, it doesn't happen at 36.
Yeah.
You know, these just one-off tests, right? He's like, no, man, he's like one of my best friends. He would tell me. No, he would not.
Right. Right, if he's smart.
Yeah, you know what happens when you tell somebody something? They tell somebody something. Yeah. And then you know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to tell this one person.
Word gets out.
Right?
Man.
So, dude, you can't have that. What you think Lance Armstrong told people things?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You think so? No way, man. He didn't tell anybody. No, who knew his doctor?
Yeah.
Because his doctor wasn't allowed to say
talk
anything.
About it. Yeah.
You know? I have some friends that are doctors, you know?
Yeah.
And I'll call them up and I'll tell them a story, and I'll be like, hey, I need doctor-patient confidentiality on this. I was like, this one doesn't get repeated. I was like, hey, so my blood pressure's good, right? And they're like, yeah, all right, good. So now we're on topic.
Yeah.
You know, like, so you can't discuss this conversation.
Yeah. People think that they have that with me because of they think there's such thing as like, you know, you can't make a priest necessarily testify against somebody or something like that. I'm not a priest, number one. I don't take confession, you know, that kind of thing. But people think if they tell me something, I'm not allowed to repeat it, and I absolutely am.
You are?
I absolutely
really?
am. Yeah, if somebody comes in and tells me, in fact, there's certain things I'm actually obligated to tell, and if I don't, I can go to jail. So like,
so is the priest.
Yeah,
if you tell the priest that you're going to kill somebody, he has to go
right.
down.
But the tricky one is on like child abuse and stuff like that. Like if somebody confesses. Oh yeah,
your grand Catholic Church over there.
Hey, you're not going to get me to defend that.
What's that?
You're not going to get me to defend that one.
But kind of back to our morality thing. How your book leads to morality. Your book leads to morality when not only do you have the people, so the priests themselves who are raping these children, they have a sickness, in my opinion, and yes, I do think they should die and be murdered. But the Pope is covering that shit up.
Oh, it's brutal.
Brutal. So he's not even into that. And so who's worse, the dude raping it or the dude covering it up? Terrible. Who knows it's wrong? Yeah, but those are your people.
No, the Bible didn't lead them to that. Their own self-preservation led to that. Sin led to that. So anyway,
we're not getting heavy today.
We gotta go work out.
Is it that how long have we been doing this?
I don't know, man. We need to work out though. I'm starting to get hungry.
I'm starving, right? We need to work out and eat.
All right, so that was episode 9 or 10 or something. No, we didn't do 10 yet. So that was 9, I think. No, that was 10. That was the 10th episode. We should have had a celebratory moment.
Like we said, a little light.
Yeah.
One of the reasons is it's hard to do. We're filming 2 in one day. It's hard to get good on 2. Be ready for 2 topics.
It's my bad because I'm going on vacation, and it's not my second vacation in a few weeks. This is my first vacation in a few weeks. The last thing I did was a trip.
Okay.
A trip involves my children. Vacation does not.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Here you go. So, I'm the owner of my own business.
Yes.
Right? I can do whatever I want.
Right.
I can work when I want to work.
Right.
I can not work when I don't want to work. I like to work.
Yep.
My wife likes to vacation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So she hits me with last week that she wants to go to like Nag's Head or something, the Outer Banks, for her birthday.
Yeah, which is when?
Which is September 21st.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. So, she wants to go for a week. And I'm like tossing around the idea. But she also wants to take the kids. She's also planning a trip in October to go to Disneyland in California. Right? And we also are taking, my mom is wanted to take Kanan to see New York City at Christmas time. Right?
So you're just like...
So I'm like looking at this and I'm like, babe, like...
I have to work.
I have to work. And she's like, no, you don't. And I'm like...
Yeah, people to do
that. No, this is her argument, right there. That's her argument. And I'm like, baby, like, I hear you, but it goes better with me.
Yeah.
Everyone does a great job, but like, not so much in Boulder, but I'm the leader of Denver, for sure, right? Like, you want your leader present and there often, Right. It works, better that way, Not that I hate Boulder or dislike Boulder, but I just work in Denver, Yeah. And I'm just like, come on, babe, like, all right, but I can't take 3, there's 5 months left. I can't take 3 weeks of vacation. I was like, we've already gone somewhere for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So now I'm contemplating, I don't know what I'm...
it's tough, man. We've created a strategy, and it happened not until we were 10 years in our marriage. We always said we wanted to go back to where we went on our honeymoon in Hawaii for our 10-year anniversary, and we did. And then we got there, and we were like, we didn't realize how tired we were.
Sure.
Until we got there, and we slept so much because at this point we already had 3 kids,
Right.
And we were just so tired. It was like, oh yeah, because you went 10 years without doing this. Like we'd gone on trips with the kids and stuff like that, but never just me and Allie for 8-10 days.
Right.
And so we did that, and we're like, it was like we discovered gold. We're like, we need to do this more,
Sure.
So our strategy has been one for a week. Each year, me and her got to go do something without the kids. And then we'll do a week with the kids somewhere. And then in between there, we try to grab like a weekend here and there for just me and her.
Right.
And then like every 5 years, we want to do something that's a little longer, like a 10-day, like big, like, go
that's
somewhere
cool.
nice.
So we're not there yet.
We're trying to find like a pattern, like a rhythm to it.
We're not there yet because I don't have 10 years of kids. And
Dude, I was changing Bo's diaper the other day, and I was like, Landry's 10. I've been changing diapers for 10 years without stopping. It's like I'm kind of tired of changing diapers.
I'm started teaching Cannon how to. We talked about this, how to wipe his own butt yesterday.
Yeah,
my wife is not about it. Like my wife doesn't want him to wipe his butt because she's like he's gonna get poop everywhere.
Yeah, you gotta go through that.
Yeah,
man.
for sure.
Yeah, it's trial and error.
And I'm like, babe, you just stand there with him.
Yeah,
like you put your hand on his hand and have him practice wiping his butt. He was all proud of himself.
Yeah.
He thought he wasn't going to do it. He said till he was 55.
Yeah,
he's always like,
55.
55.
By then he'll be back to having to have
somebody wipe himself.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man, yeah, I'm tired of changing diapers for sure.
You're done, right? Are you done?
Yeah. Well, I had vasectomy. We'll have to have a vasectomy episode. Yeah. Tell everybody all about it and why it's horrible. Yeah.
Man,
you might be next.
I want to be next. Yeah. I'm just waiting for the go-ahead. We're still...
You guys need to decide, man. Make the call.
My call is made. Yeah, my call's made. My decisions...
You can be swayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With I'm unhappy.
And you got laser back hair removal, so you can be swayed.
I love kids.
Yeah.
I just don't like...
It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Parenting ain't easy.
Yeah.
Pimping ain't easy either, they say.
Yeah, I only do one. That's parenting, for sure.
Not
for sure not a pimp, because if I was a pimp, I wouldn't have gotten these.
All right, everybody. It's been fun. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good, guys.